2025 regular planning commission meeting for Augusta Charter Township. So call it to order at 6:38. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go to roll call. Albers.
Here.
Hamel.
Here.
Gifford.
Here.
Spence. Is absent. Witt. Is absent. Wolf.
Here.
Yerk is here. What I'd like to do is recognize Trustee Gifford as a new member of the Planning Commission and as the board representative, as a trustee of the township and board representative of the Planning Commission. This is the first meeting that he's attended, so glad to have you on board.
Thank you.
Also acknowledging on the agenda that there's a clerical error that included the former board representative and didn't get updated, so we apologize for that.
Sorry.
And we'll make sure at the next meeting that the agenda was set correctly, trustee. We're going to move on to number 4, approval of the agenda. There's one omission or change that we need to make, and that's to add election of officers. So I guess we could make that item 7C. Are there any other changes, corrections, additions to the agenda? Since I'm making the note in the omission, I'll go ahead and make the motion that we approve the agenda with the addition of item 7C, election of officers. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Hamel. Albers?
Yes.
Hamel?
Yes.
Gifford?
Yes.
Wolf?
Yes.
Yerk, yes. Motion carries. Next item 5, the approval of the minutes from the October 16th, 2024 regular meeting. Does anyone have any corrections, changes, additions?
No.
Anything? All right, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll move.
Motion by Commissioner Wolf to approve the minutes as submitted. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Hamel. Albers?
Yes.
Hamel?
Yes.
Gifford?
Yes.
Do you want to vote yes or abstain?
I'll abstain.
Okay. Trustee Gifford abstains. Wolf?
Yes.
Yerk, yes. Motion carries. Move on to item 6A, public hearings, renewable energy ordinance text amendment. Ms. Krebs, what I'd like to do is have you introduce it so that folks that are here because of the public hearing understand what we'll be discussing next. Before, so you have an opportunity to speak on.
Sure, so, as we last talked about this in October, and at that time, we set the public hearing for this date. But the modifications that are proposed to the solar ordinance are just adding, battery facilities, energy storage facilities as part of our existing, large-scale solar facility ordinance. That's really the only change, only modification, in that respect. And then we also have, a wind energy conservation system ordinance that would allow for accessory wind. This isn't utility scale. This is meant to be an accessory use for residential or agriculture or even commercial business for their specific use on their property. And so that's what this text amendment is.
Okay, and all right, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, we can talk about it after.
Sure, sure. All right, this is sorry, I need a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion by Commissioner Hamel, is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Trustee Gifford. That will open the public hearing at 6:44. Albers,
Yes.
Hamel,
Yes.
Gifford,
Yes.
Wolf,
Yes.
so open the public hearing. So I offer an opportunity for anyone to speak on the renewable energy ordinance. We are considering making changes, as Planner Krebs mentioned. As part of that process, we're required to have a public hearing. So if there's anyone in the audience who wishes to speak.
I just have one question.
Yeah, ma'am. Could you give us your name, please?
Yes, I'm Margot Szynski, Czynski. And I'm wondering if there has been interest in this kind of accessory wind energy from anyone in the township?
Could you
Or how
repeat
did
the
this
question?
come up?
Sorry.
Yeah, has there been interest expressed in installing wind turbines?
I'm not aware of any.
Yeah, I'm not aware of anything. We haven't had anything referred to us from the board. I would note that on Macron, no, not Macron, down the road from you.
On the Chrome.
Yeah, Macron, okay, I'm sorry. Just in my driving around related to cases, there's a small wind turbine on a property there on a corner of Macron and Taladay. Someone mentioned at some point that they're not sure it's functional or not. I don't know, it still exists there. This would allow someone to install it on their own property. There are a number of requirements as far as setbacks and the size of the parcel.
I read through it.
Yeah, that they would be
Extensive.
allowed to do that. Yeah, okay, so I'm sorry, if you have any questions about that, but to
No, I
answer your
just-
initial question,
Yeah.
no, not that we're aware of, but
So this
we,
is more setting up regulations
in
they
case
want.
someone wants to do it, so that it's done in an orderly fashion, and that someone can't decide to, erect something that's, 150 feet high, or they want 18 of them on their, on their lot, or something like that, that it's sets some regulations, like a lot of things in the township, that we have regulations for, so that it's done in an orderly fashion and it doesn't impact their neighbors.
Okay, and I read through the regulations, which are quite extensive. Is that something that you got from some other community that had this, or somebody made that? I mean, who writes these? I don't mean to challenge it, I didn't see any problem, but
Sure.
I'm curious, like, where does this come from?
We utilize our planning consultant, who
Uh-huh.
are experts in land planning matters. They represent Augusta Township and I'm sure umpteen other communities here in Washtenaw County and maybe beyond. So whenever there is an ordinance revision or a new ordinance, We rely on them to do that. I'm sure that probably at some, this was not the first time around on that for them, so I'm sure it's something they developed over time, working with other municipalities, and then, you know, we looked at it, we've made modifications prior to this as our discussion with Augusta Township.
Great.
So, yeah,
Thank you.
sure. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Anyone else? Third and final time. Anyone else on the renewable energy ordinance? All right, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
And then how does that work for a board, like for us, if we have questions? Does that?
That's the next item.
Okay.
Yeah, we're under new business. So, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll set a motion for closing the public hearing.
Motion by Commissioner Hamel, is there support?
Support.
Support by Trustee Gifford. Albers?
Yes.
Hamel?
Yes.
Gifford?
Yes.
Wolf?
Yes.
You're, yeah, so we close the public hearing at 6:49. All right, we'll move on to item 7A, the renewable energy ordinance discussion.
Yeah, I guess so the next step after the public hearing is for us to finalize the draft based on any comments we received or any additional discussion we have this evening. I did note that prior to this going to the board for final adoption, the township, I would recommend that the township attorney review it. But I have to, of course, ask the board if that's the typical
Sure.
Next step prior to going to the board. So if you are to make a recommendation this evening, I will prepare the information to get to the board with the request that the attorney review it prior to them taking any action. But I'm happy to make any further changes or help with any discussion you want to have in any of the proposed amendments.
All right, we'll open up the commission for discussion. Commissioner Wolf?
Yeah, I've got some questions that they aren't really strong points, but you know, when you read things constantly over and over and over, you see things that you didn't see the first time. So I'm just going to kind of give you a real quick of some of the things I see, and then you can decide if you want to come back and revisit them. And to try to identify it, I'm going by page 4. I'm going to start with on there on the first one on the solar portion, which is it starts with the 6.25 and you go down to page 4. What I found on the setback, which is H, the top of page 4, that you have a 100-foot setback on the property lines from when you're going from the public railroad and existing roads. And then I found that you also have a 100-foot height that you can have, for instance, on a post or something else on the property. So if you look at a 100-foot setback and that's something that's 100 foot high, if it was to fall down, you could definitely fall down into the right-of-way of the railroad. So my first thinking of that is we should probably move it another 150 feet back like the other one shows, just in case something fell, you wouldn't want it to come by and hit a train.
Well, if we're talking about the solar, there will never be anything that's 100 feet high in solar.
Yeah, but 100 feet is what's allowed. If you go on to the one just before that, for transmission portions and that, on section F, it says substation
Oh,
electrical.
substation.
Yeah, substation electrical transmission equipment shall not exceed 100 feet in height.
That's the transmission lines.
Yes, yes, but that line then would be within 100 feet if that was ever to fall down for whatever, a lightning strike, for instance, at 100 feet, and you're 100 feet from the setback. I just thought another 50 feet would be proper.
That's up to you. This is existing language that you have, so this didn't
Yeah.
change as part of this draft. So
That's what I
it
said.
doesn't
I
matter.
don't have any real big issues with that. I just kind of wanted to give that as a point. The last thing I'd ever want to do is have us approve something and have a line hit by a lightning strike and then fall down and go in front of the railroad, and then all of a sudden you have some real damage.
Well, wouldn't that be same as any electrical line don't go across railroad
Yes.
tracks?
Yeah.
Because it's their transmission line.
These
Yeah.
are the heavy-duty transmission
Yeah.
lines, they're
Yeah.
not
Okay.
just a pole that,
It'll be no
let's see.
different than mine's.
Okay, so that was the first one. And then on J's section about the screening, you list there, you're supposed to have a perimeter around the solar energy systems and the fencing there, it's supposed to be screened and buffered. And it's not identified if it's supposed to be in front of the fence or behind the fence. And so I don't know if you mean to, if it doesn't matter or you don't care, but do you want the screening of the vegetation in front of the fence so you don't see the fence, or do you want it behind the fence?
it's typical that it would go outside of the fence. But if you want it, if this body wants it to say, the screening will be on the, usually you screen so that you don't see the fence either.
That's what I
Right.
thought, so I didn't know
Yeah.
if you wanted to add that. So like I say, I'm not really strong one way or the other, just wanted to mention that. On page 5, following the same thing across, I kind of identified on O, which is the bottom of page 5, the drain tiles. There's no mention of them being on the drawings. And I think it would be proper if we're gonna have existing drain lines or drainage lines, tiles, or